morning, everybody. Jim Sinacropi sitting in for Josh Durso for a special Monday edition of Inside the FLX on FingerLakes1.com and FingerLakes1.tv. Today we're going to be talking Girl Scouts and a big event coming up here in Seneca Falls on October 13th and 14th. It's called Carrying the Torch. It's a Girl Scout convention on women's rights. And here to help us talk about it is Communication Director for Girl Scouts of NYPENN Pathways, Jaime Alvarez. Hi, Jamie.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
This is a pretty cool thing as someone who lives in Seneca Falls, and we just hosted the Women's Rights induction ceremony earlier last month, where so many great women came and spoke and spent the weekend in Seneca Falls. And as someone who also is very familiar with the history of women's rights in Seneca Falls, I thought this was just a really good fit. So tell us a little bit overview of the event and what we can expect.
Well, we're excited to have this convention next weekend in Seneca Falls for not only just for Girl Scouts, but for any girl who wants to register. It's a free event, and what we're hoping is to really give something that's empowering and educational to the girls, to bring them to the birthplace of the women's suffrage movement. We are celebrating 100 years of women's suffrage in New York State. So we thought it was really an opportune time to partner with these fantastic organizations, the National Park for Women's Rights and the Hall of Fame. So we're having a weekend of activities for the Girl Scouts. They can earn a special patch as part of this and have the opportunity to go to the park and to the visitor center and to the different historical sites around Seneca Falls and really immerse themselves in the history.
Now, how do you feel the Girl Scouts have a current background in the history of Seneca Falls and the history of women's rights? Do they know of Seneca Falls and have an idea of the stuff that happened here, or is this going to be like their first experience with all the world-changing events that happened in Seneca Falls?
It could be a little bit of both. Seneca Falls, we're very lucky here at NYPENN, our council. Seneca Falls is within our council region and footprint, so we feel very lucky to have that historical point in our region. And I think some of the girls have experienced this and some have not. We are actually opening this to any Girl Scout, so it's not just girls from our own council, but across New York State, because it's a very important piece of not only our state history, but our national history. So I think it'll be a really wonderful event for them, and we hope to see as many girls as we can, not just Girl Scouts, but any girl here really in the birthplace of women's rights.
So I mentioned it's Friday and Saturday, October 13th and 14th, and the events will be throughout the sites in town, especially at the Women's Rights National Historic Park sites, the Women's Hall of Fame, and the Seneca Falls Community Center. Mm-hmm. And before the show, we were talking about looking at possibly 500 scouts, mm-hmm. along with some parents and some scout leaders and other people from your organization, and they'll be staying in Seneca Falls. Absolutely. We're descending upon your town, and we're very excited to be here. And on Friday and Saturday, the girls will have an opportunity to go to the different sites. And something that's special that we're doing on Friday is in the afternoon, we're having a press conference at Wesleyan Chapel with a special reenactment of the Declaration of Sentiments by a character actress playing Elizabeth Cady Stanton, which I think will be really cool mm-hmm. for the girls to really get immersed in the history. And then we're having a panel discussion from 3 to 4:30 at the Seneca Falls Community Center in the gymnasium with women leaders. So our CEO, Julie Dale, from the NYPENN Council will be there, as well as the superintendent for the park, the co-president of the National Women's Hall of Fame, an inductee, and mm-hmm. hopefully some other special guests. So I think it'll be a really wonderful opportunity for the girls. How did this event come about? Did you reach out to the National Park or the Hall of Fame, or how did this happen? Well, earlier this year, we were fortunate enough to bring a couple of our scouts down to New York City to celebrate the centennial of women's suffrage in New York State Girl Scout patch, which is something that the Women's Suffrage Commission, along with Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, put together. And we got talking with the Women's Suffrage Commission and the folks here and thought, what a perfect opportunity to put together an event for the girls that's right in our council footprint, and that really truly is the birthplace of women's suffrage. So it all kind of fell into place, and we're very excited. Now, it's been great weather, throughout the autumn so far here in upstate New York. So hopefully that'll continue.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So logistically, how are like meals handled for this many girls, or are people staying at the Holiday Inn, at the Gould Hotel, at the Microtel? What's just logistically how some of this is going to happen?
We've invited folks to stay wherever they can find a room if they're from out of the local area, and we have a lot of folks that are driving in for the day or for the weekend that are close enough. And Girl Scouts are resourceful, so a lot of them will bring their own food. We are doing boxed lunches on Friday. They can order those through the event website. So we have a great site set up on Eventbrite to register for the tickets. The convention is free, but we just need folks to register because some of the venues have limited seating.
Sure.
But we'll offer some boxed lunches on Friday. Saturday, it's sort of make your own way about town, and we hope that they take part in all the different things that are happening and really get to enjoy Seneca Falls as well.
So this is open to any girl.
That's
is there
right.
an age restriction?
No, it probably would be more appealing to girls that are, like 10 and up because of the nature of the subject matter. Little girls might not sit through it, but really we want it to be open to any Girl Scout, any girl. And we're actually offering a special reception in the evening for our Girl Scout alumni at the Gould Hotel. That is a paid event. But it's just a little, coming back together, and we call them the torch bearers. We're carrying the torch with the younger girls, but we hope to see some of our alumni and gather and talk about, all the wonderful things about this leadership organization and why folks are still involved.
Has there been any engagement with the local schools for this event? Have they been cooperative or supportive?
Well, we have troops in all of the community, and we're working with our folks and our staff to spread the word. So we're hoping that we see as many folks as we can.
Nice. So once again, it's called Carrying the Torch. It's the Girl Scout Convention on Women's Rights, Friday and Saturday, October 13th and 14th in Seneca Falls. Open to all girls, not just Girl Scouts. And we'll be attracting here in Seneca Falls scouts and young women from across the state.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we hope beyond. We've reached out to our sister councils in Delaware and New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So we may even get some folks from out of state, which would be really exciting.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you came to be the communications director for the Girl Scouts of NYPENN.
I've actually been with the council for about almost 10 months, so we're a brand new marketing department, and I'm very excited to work for an organization that is a preeminent leadership development organization for girls and really is helping to empower girls in their lives. So I think it's very exciting, and I have a background in nonprofit communications and higher education, so it was a nice natural fit.
And where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Oneida, New York, so right in central New York, and I went to school in Syracuse and lived in D.C. for a few years and came back up here.
So what would be some of the things that, obviously, in the past few months you've been preparing for this event. When this event ends, what will be some of your daily activities that you do for the Girl Scouts?
Well, we are charged with promoting the council and helping to build membership and retain membership. So we do a lot of social media. We work on our website, publications. We just put out a brand new program guide showing all of the offerings that our council puts together with events for our troops and leaders and members. So we'll continue the good work of spreading the word about NYPENN and hopefully, getting more girls interested in Girl Scouting.
And if a young girl wanted to become interested in scouting, what's the first step?
Well, troops are forming all the time, and now is an opportune time because as we get back into the school year, that's when the troops kind of come back together after having a break for the summer and going to camp. So they can go to gsnypenn.org/join and have their parents sign them up, and they'll get put into a troop and hopefully continue with the program from the littlest level of Daisy all the way through to the senior year of high school.
Now, do you think scouting in general is growing or holding steady? It seems like, as a father of an 11-year-old girl, she's just so stretched for time. There's so much going on with youth sports and school, and do you think that scouting is strong still today?
I do. I think girls today, whereas when the Scouts were formed in 1912, obviously have many more choices available to them, which is amazing. And I think that scouting is adapting for the times, and we're, the National Girl Scouts has released new badges related to STEM and other things. So I think that we are changing with the times, and girls have a lot of options, but there's still a lot of value in scouting and the leadership development.
So, Is there any events that the general public can just show up at for this weekend, or is it all pre-registration?
The convention is open to the public as well, and we'd like to see as many girls as we can, not just Girl Scouts, and maybe it'll spark an interest in scouting and leadership development. We just ask that folks register because we do have limited seating in some of the venues, so
Right.
it's really open to anyone who wants to come and be immersed.
So it's pretty interesting in the fact that it's the Girl Scout Convention on Women's Rights. Seneca Falls was the site of the first ever women's rights convention in 1848. Is there anything like legislative or any current women's issues that will be discussed that these girls will get involved in to try to promote or create some change in the world today?
Well, I think a lot of what this will do is harken back to historically, how do we learn from the past and bring that into the present and the future? And a big part of Girl Scouting is civic engagement. So we hope that the girls will have a newfound interest in civics, and that they will take everything they've learned and go forward in their own lives to change and really be truly leaders as young women and as they grow in their communities.
Okay, well, before we let you go, I have to ask you about Girl Scout cookies. When is there any new flavors, or when can we start seeing the Girl Scout cookie sales start to kick in?
For our council, they start in January and February, and then
Okay.
you'll see booths during the month of March. We do know that the s'mores cookie, which was the brand new flavor last year, they've brought back for this coming season, and that was very popular. And of course, Thin Mints are the #1 selling cookie in this area. So definitely cookies coming back in the winter.
I like the trefoils. Was that how you say
Trefoils.
them?
Yeah, the
Just
shortbread.
the plain shortbread cookies. I could eat a whole sleeve of those with some
A
coffee.
sleeve is a serving, so you're good.
Yeah, right. Is that how they measure the
Yeah.
serving size? Well, now that I know that, I'll probably get 6-8 boxes.
Great. Thank you for supporting the girls.
Okay, once again, it's called Carrying the Torch. It's a Girl Scout Convention on Women's Rights, Friday and Saturday, October 13th and 14th, right here in Seneca Falls, New York. And can you give that website again for registration?
Sure. It's gsnypenn.org/torch.
Okay, and yeah, Jamie, thanks a lot for coming in and especially for organizing this event. As someone who's a native of Seneca Falls and grew up in Seneca Falls, this is the exact type of thing that I love to see happening. To think that there'll be up to 500 young women, in our town next weekend and exploring the historic sites and learning about the history and hopefully being inspired.
Absolutely.
And sometimes out of all those 500, maybe, just a dozen are really, inspired, and it goes on to maybe change the course of, what they plan to do after school and going forward, because a lot of times I think folks nowadays think that women's issues are a thing of the past. Like, back in 1848, women were essentially property and not allowed to vote, and so much has changed. But there's parts of the world where that's still the case. And so, as far as women's rights go and women's issues, there's still a long way to go globally and domestically. There's new issues that women face now, such as equal pay. And so it's like I said, as someone who's a native of Seneca Falls and is proud of Seneca Falls, I'd like Seneca Falls still to be able to play a role in change globally for women. And so an event like this is perfect.
Absolutely. I mean, we really are looking at this as it's so much bigger than one girl or one troop or one leader. It really impacts all of us. And if we're building women of tomorrow, women leaders of tomorrow, then let's educate them and help them learn from the past. So what better place to do it than in Seneca Falls, the birthplace of the suffrage movement?
Yeah. So now, where will there be some social media postings throughout the weekend? Like, where can people look to kind of tune in live to some of the stuff that's going on?
Absolutely. We'll be active on our social media channels. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's at GSNYPENN.
GSNYPENN.
PENN.
PENN,
Yep.
sorry, yeah. So search for that and keep an eye out on all the social media channels. Jamie, thanks a lot for taking the drive in and spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Awesome.
So that was Jaime Alvarez of the Girl Scouts of NYPENN Pathways. The event is Carrying the Torch. It's the Girl Scout Convention on Women's Rights right here in Seneca Falls, Friday and Saturday, October 13th and 14th, at sites throughout the town. So check it out, and of course, be sure to register if you plan on attending any of these events. And Inside the FLX airs Sundays at 7 or 9. Geez, I'm subbing for Josh, so I can't remember. 9 on Finger Lakes Channel 12 cable TV, also available on demand on YouTube, fingerlakes1.tv, stitcher.com, and iTunes. So for Josh Durso, I'm Jim Sinacropi. Have a great week.